Hey guys, it's Guy, and let's just get right into it. So today we're going to talk about hands, which is a problem for a lot of artists, but we're going to tackle it and see if we could break it down as much as possible for beginners and even for maybe veterans in case they feel lost. So I took the liberty, I got ourselves a hand. So what we're going to do is we're going to break down the hand and talk about exactly about it. So we have the fingers, the index, the middle, the ring, the pinky, and the thumb. These fingers basically are what make up the hand. What we're going to do is we're going to break down the palm, which is the base of these fingers that you're going to place them on. Now, people normally make this palm roundish when it comes to the joints. I don't do that. It's not really my thing. I changed the color because I wasn't too sure if you guys could see it. But what I do instead is I make two sides for the fingers and break it down into two quadrants of the palm instead of just one big palm. This is because the index and the middle finger are straight up, while the ring finger and the pinky kind of slide to the side. Obviously, the thumb will have to be its own quadrant because it's the thumb. It sticks for itself, it's the base of the hand. We go to the front part of the palm now. I break down, let's say, the palmish area into three sections as well. Below the pinky, the area that connects the fingers, and the meat of the palm, which is the finger, the thumb. So a quick sketch of what we just did, so I could show you without the hand as underneath it. I also show the wrists. The wrists are thick. It's possible you can have a wrist that's thick that leads to the hand, but normally when it comes to a hand, the wrist is normally thinner. Even with just a small indent, that's fine. I break down the thumb a bit and the fingers and how they could bend. Fingers actually have three joints, as we all know. The first two are normally the same size. I normally make this top one a bit shorter, but sometimes I actually make it longer. That's actually a thing that I'm doing more recently, longer tips. But it's okay. It's okay. You don't have to follow this rule. In fact, you can just do two joints. I've seen a lot of artists, mostly cartoons, they mostly focus on two joints. So if you make another finger, there you go. Here is the two joints, as normally what people do. It's a strange thing, but it's something that we do. So what we're gonna do next, right now, is make another hand. Yeah, make it more quicker this time. Deal with the thumb a bit more. Talk about more about fingertips and such. What I normally do for my thumb, I normally do like a diamondish shape. This is just for the fingerprint area. As you can see, I circled it. It's just to make you guys get a better understanding of, like, say if your finger was pressing against something, that's the area that normally presses. This is just something I do. It varies depending on what it is that you do. I also show that I copied My Hero Academia's artist. What he does is when he does his fingers, he does diamondish to show a form of depth when it comes to fingertips. This is just a tip that I saw for myself and thought to use, and I pretty much like it. It helps me understand the finger a bit more because he draws hands constantly, especially his main character. But back to the video. What it is I'm showing is the gaps between fingers, because the index finger near to the middle finger, there's a gap that's a bit big, to show that, hey, it could stand by itself. But when it comes to the middle finger and the ring finger, they're a bit more closer, you know, and the pinky finger is a bit more off. Also, when it comes to finger sizes, the index finger, sorry, is the third tallest finger. Your middle finger is the tallest, obviously, and the ring finger is the second tallest. So when it comes to your fingers, just always keep that in mind, that when you do your fingers on heights, that this rule applies. I break down the joints between the fingers again, reusing what I just taught. I'm gonna break it down even further when it comes to the folds in the fingers and the hand. When it comes to the fingers in the hand, the folds underneath it that connect them sometimes slant to the side. There's a directional thing that goes on with your hand. When it comes to left or right, it goes to the opposite end of the spectrum. So I just give a quick demonstration on that. It's not mandatory. This isn't a mandatory practice. You can do it if you feel like it. This is just for more realism-ish things that I've noticed. But cartoons or comic book artists don't really do it. The most they do is put like a little round fold underneath the finger to say, hey, it's bending a bit. You got to show a bit of a crease. I go closer with the palm-ish area. And if you were to enclose your palm a bit, depending on the lighting and such, the middle area is always the darkest area. So if your hand is closing in or the light isn't hitting it, it's normally the darkest part of the hand. So that's a fun, quick tip. We're gonna go again and draw another hand, try and show you what it's like when cartoons artists do it. I've seen a lot of blocky hands like this. This is fine, there's no real issue with it. But when it comes to major artists, this isn't a good practice. Unless you're a cartoonist, like Samurai Jack, they have blocky hands, that's fine, but they understand the fundamentals of it beforehand. So it's not something that you should practice continuously, but actually practice the real thing before sculpting your art into a more simplistic version of itself. I'm gonna make another hand again, but I think this time we're gonna do the backhand. Just gotta sculpt it out a bit to show you guys exactly what it is I'm trying to do. My thumb looks a bit whack. Don't mind it too much. It's just there, So yeah, okay. So I show you the joints. I had to change color because I want to show you a more different thing. The joints underneath the hand all lead up to the wrist in a different way, so you always got to keep in mind on the joint placement. And when it comes to maybe strenuous tendons, like if you do your fists and whatnot, keep a track of the detail of it. When you do your joints, like say your knuckles, what I'm doing right now, I use diamond shapes. So I do the circles and I put the diamonds around it to kind of cup what type of what really goes on with the knuckle exactly. Again, these are just ways for you to see that this is how your knuckle placement is, kind of. So when it comes to you doing detail like light, you can see more of where the shadow would be placed. I didn't like how my finger was. It was too close, so I had to try and spread it out a bit. But that's normally how knuckles are. Now don't do the entire diamond like what I did. Just do like how I just redid my other finger, my index finger, and color underneath it. Yeah, I'm gonna erase it a bit, but color underneath it to show the shadow of a knuckle rather than an entire diamond, because that's not really realistic. But yeah, so I'm showing some fingernails. This is a thing you don't have to do, but hey, fingernails is nice, it's part of the hand, why not show it off? An artist thing or trick is to cut off a bit of the fingernail and the people will fill it in themselves. What I also decided to do was do like a woman fingers. Always realize that women fingers hands are thinner, smaller. This isn't always the case. You can always design characters with thicker hands. This is all on you. But yeah, fingernails are just a fun aspect to add to show off, like for some anime characters when they want to show off their fingernails and they just do the tips and they don't really show detail of it. But we're gonna apply what we just learned. I pull up another reference, and maybe the most favorite thing that people do are fists. You know, these are, guys, things, tips and tricks on what we can do. So what we're going to do is we're going to do what a fist is. It's basically a blocky square, but we talked about this earlier, that a palm is actually a bit curving. So as you can see in the hand, how the palm and her fist kind of curves, you're going to kind of do the same thing. So right now, when you do your finger, you're looking at the front part of the finger as described. Sorry, as described by my cube. The eye is looking at. You're gonna do the front part of the finger, and we're gonna, if you want, put knuckles on top. But do little sausages. Do little sausages where the circles are. Encase it, because that's where the joint is. So nothing to worry about. And now when it comes to the thumb, it's a bit easier. It could be complicated depending on how you're doing it. I had to clear it up a bit. I know you guys couldn't really see exactly the shape of the thumb, but yeah, so there you go. When you do your thumb, it's sticking on top, so you just need to do a little bit of curve. This is also where the palm, as you can see, the triangle is also dark. So in case you do, like, you enclose your fist, obviously that's the darkest part underneath where barely any light is hitting. To describe more of the thumb and how it is that you can get your nails more correctly, I decided to draw a cube, void, rectangle, because this is basically the first step when drawing a finger. You could make it just round instantly, but it's better to draw a cube to get a more in-depth, like the 3 vertices of depth. And so basically you can just draw a cuboid, you can erase the corner, kind of curve it in, and on the top face you can put in the nail, but the nail is in a square, so you have to curve that in too to follow suit with the fingertips. And from there you can just kind of understand where the light is coming from. So if the light is coming from above and there's just a shadow underneath, you can just do that. That's the little thing where some artists add like little wrinklage on the nail. You know, if you want to show off your joints, wrinklage is always a clean way to show off your joints. We're gonna try and do it again, but this time we're gonna do a side hand, because hey, we just did fronts and backs but not sides. So we're gonna do a side hand right here, and the basis of it is you have your palm, yes, but sideways, so it's a thinner rectangle, and but the finger, the thumb muscle is still thick, so we have it protruding from the palm just a bit. You know, it depends on how big your character is. And now you just draw cylinders. You know, cylinders are just like rectangles but curved at the top. And I do that in order to shape out the depth of my thumb. And then we're gonna add the little knuckle that we did earlier. Get rid of all that. Don't need that up there. And we're gonna do we're gonna break every step down. We're gonna do the joints, the fingers, the height of the finger. As you can see, remember the middle finger is always the tallest, so your index finger is a bit shorter. The 3 joints of the finger. But you need to also realize that hands are not flat. So you need to add a little curve in the backhand, maybe, you know, if you want to add a bit more in the wrist. You know, this is all on you. Details, fine line the details, add a little bit of folds in the thumbs, because it's kind of curving, you know. This is all depending on how detailed you want your finger to be. Now, it could just be basic, you just have the out shapes of different spectrums of it, like the shape of the finger, shape of the palm, maybe a nail here or there, and there's the shape of the knuckle, and you got yourself a hand. You know, you got yourself a nice, clean hand. So if you want to ever do an above view of it, you know, just follow the same steps. You have your palm, but it's now flat on the ground, so it's just a squarish thing. Put your circles so you know your joints. You can do your little sausages, you know, your depth, your cylinders. And I follow the same thing with the thumb, because we all know that's where the thumb is too. And yeah, you just round it off. That's your hand. If you want to put your nails, you can put your nails. But other than that, so we're nearing the end of the video, and I would like to hear your comments. Tell me how this worked for you. Tell me if the tutorial actually made a better understanding of how you should be able to do hands. Leave a comment, like if you want to follow more with this, subscribe. And until next time, later.